Now, a little while ago, I reviewed a custom-made model made by Aviation Custom Model Designer, and today we'll take a look at the second custom model I got from him to see how consistent he is with his quality. So with that, hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where today we'll take a closer look at an Airbus A320-200 of FlyOne. This is of course a custom-made model. The donor model came from Herpa Wings and used to be an A320 of Mexicana. On the box we find a few stickers, so we will know that it is a FlyOne and not a Mexicana. We have the Aviation Custom Model Designer sticker here in the back as well. On the box it does say a limited edition, and certainly that is still true, because this model is definitely a limited edition. And one more thing worth mentioning, although it has nothing to do with Aviation Model Custom Designer, but is fully, well, on the credit of Herpa Wings, and that is the awful quality of the box. It has this gap here in the top, and why does it have it? Well, when you press here we can just see, I mean, it's just poorly cut. Herpa, please change your boxes. So there we have it, the Airbus A320-200 in the standard livery of FlyOne. A couple of years ago I had the opportunity to spot an A319 of the airline in Billund actually, and I never thought I would get a model of it, because why would Herpa ever do an airline like this? Well, they should, but they don't. So luckily we do have awesome people like Herpa or Aviation Custom Model Designer who can create models like this for us. But how has he done with this aircraft model? We need to find out, and we find out by taking a closer look at the aircraft model, starting off with the tail section, where we on the vertical stabilizer have the FlyOne branding. On the fuselage we then have the flag of Moldova, we have the full registration code of the aircraft, as well as the aircraft type specification. Towards the very tail of the aircraft we then have a bit of detailing around the APU exhaust, and underneath that we actually also have a printed detail, but I'm not quite sure if this is a printed detail left over from the donor model or something Herpa has added, and I think that just speaks to the quality of his work. Now when we take a look at the front of the aircraft, we can see across the fuselage we have the FlyOne branding, underneath which we have the web address of the airline. Now I don't believe that the donor model did have static ports, certainly no sensors, so they have definitely been added to the model as a custom detail. But the static ports, I'm not 100% sure. This is again proving how good his quality actually is when he adds details to these custom models. When we look at the cockpit section, we have the name of the aircraft underneath the cockpit windows. The cockpit windows with the black mask have also been added. Something I can't quite make out if there or not are the window wipers, so at least a detail I would have liked to see, or at least worked out a little bit better. And then of course we also have the static ports. Then we can take a quick look at the nacelles. They've been kept in white as the fuselage, but we do have the silver leading edge and the FlyOne branding. The only little detailing I'm missing here are the safety markings, which I think could have been a lovely addition. The physical detailing of the engines is the Herpa standard, overall looking rather nice. On the fuselage, just above the wings, we then find the emergency exits have been printed on, and that leads us straight to the wings, which we should also take a closer look. They of course are mainly the Herpa standard, so we have the flap slats and spoilers carved out quite nicely. We have the markings for the emergency exits printed on, but a little custom detail here are of course the blued out wingtip fences, and also underneath the wing we find the full registration code of the aircraft has been added. That's also really awesome, paying attention to details. Then we can take a look at the landing gear. That is the standard landing gear of Herpa Wings for all the Airbus A320 family aircraft models. Looks good here at the main landing gear, and not so good at the front landing gear because it is massively too wide, but Herpa has added a printed detail, and that is really awesome. And what is also really awesome is that Herpa has added the FlyOne branding to the belly of the aircraft, despite Herpa's nonsense of adding holes in fuselages of models where there is no stand included. But that's of course an issue of the donor model and not a statement of Aviation Custom Model Designer's work. And then finally we of course also have the doors to the cargo compartments printed on here at the back and at the front, and with lovely detailing, more than we get normally from Herpa Wings. So there we have it, the Airbus A320-200 in the current standard livery of FlyOne, a custom model made by Aviation Custom Model Designer using a Herpa Wings Mexicana A320 donor model in scale 500. And what can we say about this aircraft model? Now, in terms of donor model, yes, there are better A320 donor models out there, but it is of course always a question of availability. So I do not blame him for using the current Airbus A320 Herpa Wings mode for this donor model. And actually, when we for example look at the cockpit section, he has managed by the placement of the cockpit windows to make it look actually like an A320, something that Herpa struggles with regularly. I think the overall placement of details is spot on, or at least very much within the acceptable margins. I love that he, for example, has added the blue wingtips or details like we find on the belly of the aircraft or the registration code underneath the wings. Something you could easily forget, but he has paid attention. Also notice across the fuselage we have these like red markings around some of the windows, details we very rarely find on wide-body aircraft from proper manufacturers and pretty much never on single-aisle aircraft. Then we of course have details like the static boards or the print we found underneath the tail of the aircraft, where I'm actually not quite sure. I would have to check the donor model to see if those details were already there or if it's something he has added. I think he has added it, but I'm not 100% sure, and I think that just proves the quality of his work. However, I also don't want to omit the window wipers either not being there or just not worked out so you can properly see them, and I think that could have been improved a little bit. And also the missing safety markings on the engines, I think that could have been a nice touch if they had been there. Still, considering the big picture, this is a fantastic job of Aviation Model Designer, and I'm certainly very happy to have this aircraft model in my collection. Now with that, we have reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed this video, then don't forget to leave a like, and if you are new around here, why not hit subscribe. With that, I'd like to say thank you very much for watching, hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.